West Virginia Mountaineers embarrassed themselves at the Big 12 tournament today, but did it help us? Because it could have helped us.
You are Locked On West Virginia, your daily podcast on the West Virginia Mountaineers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, guys? Welcome back in. My name is Mountaineer Paul. I am the host. Locked On West Virginia returns for the second time today. Going to be brought to you by Nissan, or actually TurboTax. Ready for stress-free taxes and the most money back guaranteed. Head over to TurboTax today and get matched with your expert. I am trying to be enthusiastic. I'm trying not to be distracted here. But this loss was unforeseen to start. Just didn't see it coming. I was overconfident and cocky earlier today. I did say that Colorado could beat us, but I didn't expect it. As a matter of fact, I would have bet money on this one. So where to begin? So, I'm going to make a couple points in this episode. I'm going to make some statements about some players that aren't going to be pretty. And also a more overarching point that I think this loss at the end of the day, I think this loss probably helped us more than it hurt us, which is pretty shocking to say. We're in the tournament. We're not going to be out because of this loss. And we don't have to play Houston now, get beat up even more, get a little bit more rest, and you're going to be seated probably in the same place unless you beat Houston, and that changes it. But we weren't beating Houston, obviously. So, I think it puts you in a spot where you're going to be seated in a place that's probably decent. And in a tournament where, the Big 12, we've already played Colorado. We've already played a lot of these teams that we've lost to here lately, against a brand new team. There was no energy in that building today at 3:00 in the afternoon. Well, actually even earlier than that, because it was in Kansas City. It was just really ripe for an upset, but let's get to the box score first. 67-60 is your final. Colorado had the highest points scored they had was 14 from Malone, who just came out of nowhere to be Oscar Robinson today. And this seems to happen to us a lot because if I have to say it once, I'll say it a million times. You guys chose not to give Darren DeVries the money to get an extra big in free agency, we may as well call it. So there you go, donors, or whoever makes this decision. You give him the extra $500K that he was asking for. We ain't got this problem, but we do. So you got to spend money to be good in college basketball. It's just the way it freaking is. Amani Hansberry had one of the most pitiful performances I've ever seen for a Power 4 player today. It was absolutely terrible. One of the worst I've ever seen. Toby Okani does not know how to play within the flow of the offense. It drives me absolutely wild. I put up some pictures on I think I have them, but it's neither here nor there. Actually, you know what? Hold on. Actually, I do. Just for me, it's frustrating because, and I don't know everything. Obviously, I don't know what he's being told, but let's share this screen really quick and we'll bounce right back. For those of you listening on podcast, don't let this take you out of this. I'm sharing something on it from X. So this is from Toby Okani early in the game. This is something that I went back and took some pictures of because it frustrated the heck out of me. Here he is setting a screen on Javon Small's guy. Here he is on the roll, and there is at least 7 to 8 feet between him and the defender, right? He catches the ball, and there is still 6 to 7 feet between him and the defender. But look at his head. In rhythm, look at his head. He's looking to make the pass. Remember, he started out 1 for 1 from 3 today. I see him do this at least 4 or 5 times a game. Teams know that he's not going to shoot the ball. And so they stay off of him, even though he's capable, certainly more than Sincere Harris, of making the shot. I'm just saying, if you start out 1-for-1, you at least take the shot in the flow of the offense. Give somebody, anybody, I don't care who, a shot to score besides Javon Small. I just don't understand this. And then he does that thing where he'll jab step and then he'll start dribbling around and he'll make a pass. Or he'll back down into the lane and try to back somebody down into the lane with these slow dribbles that he almost got it stolen again today. I've seen him get that stolen at least 5 or 6 times this year. I don't understand why this is happening, considering he is capable of making the shot. Is he more of a side of the basket shooter? Yes, he is. But should he take that shot, especially according to what Darren DeVries has said? I believe so. So I'm not a coach. No, I'm not. Played the game. I know what it's like to be in the flow of the offense. I definitely know what it's like to go on a pop off a roll. And that is the shooter's dream. And if you can shoot it at all, you should take that shot, or at least pump fake it. At least pretend this guy, you get him off his feet or anything like that, you got a shot. He's a big guy. Why isn't Toby O'Connor drawing him in to try to take him to the rim? Anyway, I'll digress off of that. Let me get off of this sharing screen here. Okay. So, and that's just one of the things, there was more, obviously. Javon Small had 23, 5, and 2, and probably should have had 10 assists today. I watched at least 3 or 4 separate guys drop passes on rolls. Now, look, a couple of them were difficult. I'm not going to say they weren't difficult because they were, but a couple of those lobs, one thing's for sure, Eduardo Andre would not be a tight end in any offense as much as he fumbles the ball. He's really got some rough hands. You got to have soft hands like Malone to be an effective, or like Jesse Edwards to be an effective rim runner or guy around the rim. And guys that don't are just more of your bangers, shot blockers, kind of like what we have. Monty Hansberry, 6 rebounds, 2 points, 1 assist. What was my key to the game when you watched it earlier today? Does anybody remember? Monty Hansberry has to be the secondary scorer for us to have a chance to win this game. That didn't happen. That did not happen. So I've seen somebody in the comments say this is on Javon Small. Come on, man. This is the first thing from being on Javon Small. Could he have been more aggressive? Should he have been more aggressive? Sure. But when you look at this box score, so Toby O'Connor had 11 points, which is pretty shocking considering how badly I felt he played. His plus minus is probably really bad. If you look at the efficiency of our offense with him on the floor, it's probably not great on offense. But he's not an offensive juggernaut saying that. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying you came here as a 3-and-D player from UIC. We go watch the Drake tape where you put up 31 or any of these other games. Sure, it's a lower level, but we're talking about wide open shots here. Anyway, so you go from O'Connor to 11 to Small for 23. Nobody else had over 8 points. Sincere Harris had 4 points, but he played great defense. I don't really have a complaint with that because I felt like he did his job today. And Monty Hansberry, like I said, felt like it's one of the worst games maybe of his career, but certainly since he's been at West Virginia. Jonathan Powell had a pedestrian 8 points. He had the one open steal in the open lane and got to the rim, but I felt like he wasn't terrible. Yesufu had a bad game. A lot of just not getting any shots off. Not really getting to the rim. Eduardo Andre really had a good couple-minute run there where he was getting those lobs. He was playing some defense. He got a block. So I felt like any normal game, you take that from Andre because he contributed on the offensive end, but then he just couldn't guard all of a sudden, even though he's played pretty good defense one-on-one all year long, couldn't guard Elijah Malone. So, there's a lot about this team that needs to be fixed, and I don't admire Darren DeVries. Then KJ Tenner 2 points, which, I don't go as hard on KJ because he's not asked to do a lot. And I felt like he played really good defense, and I felt like KJ did enough. He's not asked to score the ball. So, obviously I have a lot of issues with this team and how they played today. But what's next? Was this loss actually beneficial for West Virginia? I can make that case, and we're going to try to right next on Locked On West Virginia. This episode of Locked On West Virginia is brought to you by Intuit TurboTax. Taxes used to be waiting and wondering and worrying if you were going to get away with any money back at all, and then waiting and worrying some more. Today, matching with a TurboTax expert who can do your taxes as soon as today. An expert who gives their taxes and your taxes their undivided attention as they work on your tax return. While you get real-time updates on their progress so you can focus on your day, an expert will find you every deduction possible and file every form, every investment, everything with 100% accuracy. Also, you can get the most money back, guaranteed. No waiting, no wondering, no worrying. This is taxes. Get an expert now at TurboTax.com. Only available with the TurboTax Live Full Service app. Real-time updates only in the iOS mobile app. See guarantee details today at TurboTax.com/guarantees. It's segment 2. We don't deserve the sacred Mountain Dew. We don't deserve it, but we're going to take a sip. We're going to take a sip just because I can't really. My mouth gets dry. You guys know that. I'm still addicted to the Mountain Dew, but I'm not going to sing it this time. I sung it earlier because I was in a good mood. What did I say today? We've already got 2 losses today. We can't afford 3. Well, now we've got 3. Blaine Stewart runs back to the NFL. Aiden Buchanan flips to Bill Belichick, basically to the NFL. And then we lose to Colorado. What a shit Wednesday for a Mountaineer fan. Is there any good news? I haven't seen the Rich Rod press conference yet. Is there anything for me to grab a hold of before I go back in my bedroom and play video games till oblivion today? Because that's what I feel like I need to go do. I need to go play Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 or College Football 25 and just forget about my troubles for the rest of the day instead of doing what I was going to do, which was go to the park, do something productive. No, I think I might just not finish that sentence. Not finish that sentence is probably a good idea. Maybe I'll be more addicted to the Mountain Dew. I'm so addicted to the Mountain Dew. Okay, I had to do it. Sorry. All right, so I guess this is where I start to talk about my case for why this was positive. Can you get with me on this, guys? Just for a second, please. So I do think there is a world in where this is a positive for West Virginia. This is a team that's been run ragged. This team is extremely tired. I would imagine, the staff has coached their asses off this year. They really have. This team got to 19 wins. Overall, we've overachieved. And I feel like, the team's beat up, tired, withered, especially Javon. And as the data came out, teams got more in tune in how to defend us. And so Javon became less and less effective, which has led to our scoring totals to go down and down and down. I think at one point in the year, we were right around 70 points a game, which is like, for this team, you're probably not losing if you score 70 unless you play some elite offensive juggernaut. Defense isn't the problem. Like, this is like our 2020 team, right? That, like, defense wasn't the problem. This is offensive issues. So, hoping not. And look, like I said, winning today, all it really would have got us is maybe an extra seed higher in the NCAA tournament, truthfully. So, And that's the difference between a 9 and an 8 and playing a team that's maybe a little better than you by the numbers, then maybe a little worse. But certainly, if we are in the 9 spot, I feel really good about it. Toward the 10 spot, it gets a little bit tougher. But I think, we'll be the toughest on the 8 or if we get a 9 or a 10, I think we'll be the toughest team on the 9 or 10 line, depending on who else is there. But I feel like we'll be a tough out still in the tournament because of how we play. No matter who we play, it's likely going to be close. And if we, God forbid, we play a team that can't defend Javon Small, then I think we'll be okay. But certainly you can make the case for the rest, the film study, the relaxation, the reset, the celebration. This team's still going to get to celebrate going into the tournament. You still won 3 out of 5 down the stretch. Like, there's some things that if I'm a coach, I can hang on to a little bit here and preach to my guys like, hey, look, we won 3 out of 5 down the stretch. We did what we had to do. We got to 19 wins. Nobody expected us to win 12. We were finished to pick 13th in the league. And then now you're telling me we're in the tournament and we got to play X, Y, or Z team that's not a Big 12 team. They don't play our brand of ball. So let's go to the NCAA tournament. Let's make some noise, and let's use this as a learning curve. And let's make chicken salad or chicken crap in the chicken salad, right? So I think that's what the reason those guys are going to do. I have not given up on this team. I won't give up on this team. But I'm mad, I'm mad at specifically Oconee and Hansberry today. I just felt like this is the biggest game of your career, especially Oconee. Being an older guy, I expect more from you, and I expect you to, and it's probably like a little confirmation bias. I look for things now because I've been upset with how Oconee's played this year. Maybe some confirmation bias where I'm kind of looking for things to pick at. I can be honest about that kind of thing with myself. And, because there were a couple of things he did today, like I watched the pass whiz and almost hit him in the face. If he would it was after we scored, running back down the floor, we put a press on. We kind of put a fake press on. It was like a full court press, but it was a fake one where you do it and then you just run off. And as he's running back down the floor, the ball whizzed right by his face and almost hit him in the side of the head. And I'm like, God, dude, just have some awareness. It's like my biggest issue with him. He is it's like the antithesis of Javon Small, unfortunately. And, I don't know if not everybody's going to be as intuitive as Javon is on the floor. I mean, you saw the passes he was making today, the lobs that looked like sky hooks, all the short roll balls that just people couldn't handle. And the NBA, they're handling those. Or with some couple better players on the wing, they're handling those. So I suppose there's a chance. Somebody in the comments is saying that Creedy's saying we're on the bubble now. I doubt that highly. I doubt that very highly. I would be shocked if we didn't make the tournament. It would take a lot of upsets for that to happen. And look, it could. There's no doubt. Let's go to one more break, guys, and we'll touch on all this business one more time here on Locked On West Virginia. Stick around. And this episode of Locked On West Virginia is also going to be brought to you by Factor Meals. If you're looking to optimize your nutrition this year, Factor makes eating well easy with chef-approved, prepared, dietitian-approved meals that are fresh, never frozen, and ready to heat and eat in just 2 minutes. With 40 options across 8 dietary preferences each week, you can customize your meals to fit your lifestyle, whether it's Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, or Keto. Factor offers even the most wholesome smoothies, breakfast, and grab-and-go snacks to keep you fueled all day long. I love how Factor takes the stress out of meal planning. I actually recently tried one of their Protein Plus meals. It had a lot of flavor, kind of kept me full. I liked it. The convenience was unbeatable, no prep mess, and just great food in general in minutes. Eat smart with Factor. If you can go to factormeals.com today /LockedOnCollege50 off and use LockedOnCollege50 off to get 50% off your first box, plus you get the free shipping. That's LockedOnCollege50 off at factormeals.com to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. Do it today at factormeals.com. It's been a tough day, guys. Lenardi had us in as today started on the 9 line, I think it was. Maybe it was somebody remind me. It was either 9 or the 10 line, maybe even the 8. I can't remember. It would take a lot for us to get off of that, in my opinion. But I'll look into it as the day keeps going on. Certainly, there are a lot of guys that, teams that could, let's say like a Colorado goes and wins the league or something crazy. Like, things can happen to take bids away from teams that are more deserving. But with our resume, we would be one of the last teams that would happen to. So pretty, like in Arkansas today, that probably barely going to sneak in. Like, teams like that, or North Carolina, like they're going to be on the bubble way before we are. At least that's what you hope based off a resume, not name brand. So there's a lot to, I guess there's a little bit of butt clenching going on, but 90% sure, unless like crazy upsets can happen. But if none of that happens, we're in. So we'll just have to follow along with it today. And certainly if that starts to trend that direction, you might see me hit that live here sometime this week over the possibility. So we'll see what goes down. But I guess to finish up and conclude, I think this was probably the worst performance of the season. It came in the last game against the worst team in the league outside of maybe Oklahoma State. Even Oklahoma State was 12-3 at home, But this was a 13-19 team, guys. The opposite of our record. A team that we had beat on the road in their place. And we held them to 67 points. Should have been less. We held them to 29 at half. And it should have been around that same number in the second half. But what did we do? We let them get into the paint, which opens everything up, of course. And that's what happened. I think we have some players that really need to do reality check. We can't replace them. We have to play with them. But if Hansberry doesn't have better, when Hansberry doesn't have a game where he's in double figures, it puts an extreme amount of pressure on us. I said it earlier in the earlier show before the game. For sure, Amani Hansberry is, in my opinion, our second most important player on offense, because if he's not shooting it well or scoring, it really puts a ton of pressure on Javon, because there's nobody else that consistently pops outside of Jonathan Powell. And that's what he always does. Like, he's never really, like, Hansberry can score at all three levels. That's another thing, man. Like, Hansberry is very capable of scoring at all three levels, but he has these disappearing acts. I don't understand him, but, he's a sophomore, so hoping he can get better, guys, and we'll see. This is a bad loss. It's our first bad loss of the year, by the way, by the numbers, as far as like quad 1, 2, 3 losses go. So take that into account as well. I think we're going to be okay. We'll keep up with it. But I thank you guys for being here. Not a lot else to say. Obviously, the loss of Blaine Stewart. If you want to hear about that episode, I did an episode a couple hours ago before the game, right around noon, about Blaine Stewart and him going to the NFL, to the Buccaneers. Aiden Buchanan going to North Carolina, which is basically the NFL, to Belichick and others. So I ask you check those out. If you're new around here, hit that subscribe button, please. We're on the road to 5,000 subscribers. We would love for you to be a part of it. We have a Discord if you want to be a part of that, where I drop news in there occasionally. Absolutely. Where we, every now and again we'll break some news and that kind of thing. So we're going to be fine. And then also I'll be looking into who are we going to replace Blaine Stewart at that inside receiver spot with. I've advocated for, one specific guy, but I don't think he'll get it unless maybe we get lucky. I'm a big fan. So we'll see. But yeah, I'm keeping track of that because in my opinion, man, there's a couple guys that could really do well at that spot. Like, listen, if you really want to hit it out of the park, there's no way it happens without paying him a ton of money, but Tavon Austin would be the move, right? If you could get Tavon Austin, I may do a video on it. I'm going to reach out to a few people and see if there's any possible way, because he's openly said, like, the only place I would really go is my hometown. And also he didn't play under Rich Rod, so it's not an exact fit. But I do think it would be a fun video to talk about. Other than that, who's out there? Well, you got, I think Darius Raynaud is coaching somewhere. There's a few other guys. Rich Rod could go pluck. We'll see what happens, guys. Stick around for that. I'll see you on the next one. Have a great day, even though it's been a rough one for us. We will bounce back, guys. As Mountaineers, that's what we do. And I'll see you on the next one, guys. Have a great week, and I'm out.